Alright, so let's actually build this and actually code using the potentiometer. Alright, so I'm going to start off with an Arduino, so I'll just put that there, and I will grab a mini breadboard so it looks like your shields, and then I'm going to connect it up. So you can see the ground pin there, and I'm going to connect that to here. So everything along that rail there is actually going to be ground, and this one over here will be 5 volts, and put a jumper across there as well. And just to stay all color coordinated, I'll make that black, and I'll make this one red. Alrighty, so let's close this one. So we're going to grab our potentiometer, so I'll just put it here, and I'll connect this side to positive and connect this side to negative. Just change the color codes again. Alright, and the middle leg here is actually the analog value that we're going to pass into the Arduino, so I'll connect it up to port A0. Alrighty, so let's actually start coding this. We're going to change over to text mode because you're all big people, and I'm just going to delete the sort of default program that they leave in there. Good old Blink. Alright, so first I need to tell it where it's going to read the values. So pin mode A0, so that's where it's actually plugged into. This is going to be an input. Don't forget to use capital letters and finish off with a semicolon. And I'm actually going to pass this out through the serial port. So serial.begin. So this is a new function for you guys. And a baud rate, so how many the rate in which the data is transmitted. Okay, so we're going to go serial.print. Let's make something snazzy. Value is equal to, put a space there as well. Don't forget the semicolon. And then serial.print, and then put a return after it, so print line. And we want to read that pin, so analog read. What are we going to read? Whatever's on A0. Finish off the brackets and hit the semicolon. Okay, so let's actually start the simulation. Open up the serial monitor, and you see some values coming in here. If I grab the potentiometer and actually move it, you'll see the values increase to a maximum value of 1023. Technically there's 1024 values because 0 itself is also a value. Okay, so now we're going to try something a little bit different. So we're going to use this analog output here to actually do something. So what I want to do is actually, when it's reached a certain value, I want it to do an output. Now that output might be from a thermistor, which is a temperature dependent resistor, and so therefore I want the air conditioning to switch on. Might be something like that. So I've got my resistor hooked up to ground, LED, and then the output's going to go from pin 8. Alright, let's go back to the code because we've got to tell the computer to do everything. Alright, so pin 8 is going to be our output. So pin mode 8, output, Now we're going to use a conditional statement. So this is new for everyone. So if I read the analog value, so analog read, which is a new function, don't forget you can go to the Arduino website to look at the whole reference. So if I read A0, and if it is bigger than 500, then I want it to do something. Alright, what do I want it to do? I want it to turn on the light, which is hooked up to pin 8. Now I cheat, I put a 1 there instead of writing low, because I'm lazy with my typing, that's all. Now if it is less than 500, I want it to switch it off. So we're going to use the else statement here. Else digital write pin 8 nothing, so a 0, and don't forget to close off that curly bracket there. Alright, so let's start that simulation. Now you can see that the LED lights come on because the value is actually 980, but if I start decreasing to about getting there, bang. Alright, switch it on, switch it off, switch it on, switch it off. Okay, and that's how we can control this. So in the next part of the video here, I'm actually going to simply stop the simulation. I'm going to open up my IDE and copy all of this in. So Control C and Control V, and I'll demonstrate it being connected to a actual board. Alright, so let's actually hook this up. So you can actually see here it's hooked up to the 5-volt line, so you can actually see it a bit better there. And I've gone across into here and made a jumper there, goes across. And here I've actually got the ground, and that's going into the ground, and you can actually see it there. So normally just leave that up. I know with this model of breadboard you've actually got ground here and 5 ports there for your 5-volt line, but not all Arduino shields have those, or the ones that we have in stock anyway. Alright, so I've got my trim pot, or trimming potentiometer. See the 3 legs on there? So I'm going to slide them into the breadboard. So that one is going to have the signal, that one's going to go to negative, and this one is going to go to positive. Alright, so let's actually do that using my wire jumpers. That goes into negative. Excuse my fat fingers blocking up the screen. So you can actually see that going across into here. And the other side I'm going to hook up to 5 volts. Okay, so the middle leg here is actually going to go to the signal. Now the signal is over here. We're going to use port A0. And that will go into there. So the analog signal that's going to be coming out, variable voltage from 0 to 5 volts, is going to go into analog 1. Now with our circuits we're going to do something that when I actually change the analog value to 500, it's going to switch on an LED. So to save on space, I've actually got my resistor. That might be better. I've actually bent the legs like that. Resistors are not polarized, so I'll just insert it into here. Didn't want to go in. So that resistor is going to negative, and so that LED is going to go into here. As you can see, the legs are lining up, and my output signal was going to come from pin 8 as I coded it, so into here. So that goes to the skinny side of the LED, and then I'll bring that over and plug it into port 8, as you can see there. Alright. Now we're going to go over to the programmer. So I've got it actually set up here, and we've already tested it virtually. So it's always a good thing to do is actually verify your code is still okay. I'll just resize that a bit. Waiting for the progress bar. All good. Alright, so this window that you can see over here down the bottom is the serial port. So let's upload our code. Alright, all good. And now I'm going to bring up the serial monitor, and it's actually reporting values back. Now please note the trigger for the LED is when you read the analog coming off that middle pin. When it's greater than 500, it will switch on. So now if I adjust my trim pot, you can see the values and the LED has gone off. I can drop it, or increasing it there. Maximum value is 1023. Technically there's 1024 values because 0 is a counted number. So let's wind that back down. It's gone below 500, and I can get that all the way down to 0. And going back again, doing it carefully. Notice how it's flashing. Now, because this is a trim pot, the middle armature that's making contact with the resistor is actually exposed to the environment. So if you watch the values and I actually touch it with my finger, those stray voltages just coming off my body will actually influence the results. That's why these are not suited for manual input. So, and you'd use a better potentiometer that is isolated from stray voltages. Okay, thank you.